base of my neck. My makeup is a palette of understated natural hues. My suit is navy. One hand rests on the handle of my luggage that happens to be completely empty. The other flips through a phone that is not a phone. If you notice me at all, you might feel pity for a pretty young woman traveling alone. No boyfriend, no husband, no children. How sad. Don't be sad. Be grateful. Be glad that instead of cashing in on my unique talents by surveilling for a ruthless private military firm, I spend my days and nights roaming the bowels of Logan, identifying suspects merely by the shapes of their heads, collaring potential terrorists based on nothing more than a glimpse of their eyes. Thanks to me, they don't even get a chance to fake their way through security. I will alert my point person in the TSA, who will send an undercover agent to tap our unwanted traveler on the shoulder, politely directing him, or her, to what might seem like an expedited security check, but which will in actuality be a gateway to their final departure. Their DNA will be tested and matched, validating my identification. Because I retain 90% of the faces I see. Not because I choose to, but because I have no choice. After what I've seen, you would not want to be me. 1. Jane. "What are you getting Eric for Christmas?" Renee asks in my earpiece as I cut the interminable line at customs, 2 passengers behind my target, a white supremacist nicknamed Radix. Last week on BitChute, Radix transmitted a coded call to arms, urging his followers to cause national havoc by disrupting air travel, whatever that meant. Clearly, he didn't blow up the plane that brought him here, but that doesn't mean he's given up. He remains in the midst of a very crowded airport, packed with holiday travelers. Lots of potential for mayhem and death. I flick a thumb to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent monitoring camera number 9. A turkey. Doesn't sound like much of a present. Not just any turkey. It weighs 20 pounds and it's covered with a mat of woven, hickory-smoked bacon and filled with a sriracha-infused chestnut stuffing. I mail-ordered it from a gourmet restaurant in Kentucky and it drained my bank account. Eric and I are going to be living on ramen for weeks. She bursts out laughing. That's if you don't end up in the ER. Hope it comes with a defibrillator. I think that's complimentary. By the way, your target is in the gray sweatshirt with the eagle. He's got his phone out and appears to be communicating. Might want to make your move. I listen to Renee, who's an actual detective, holed up in a back office surveying passenger data on her computer. As a natural super recognizer with added training in forensic facial analysis, I'm a grunt in comparison. Any information I gather is likely to be struck down in a court of law as too subjective. Instead, my job is to avert an immediate disaster by identifying passengers I recognize as disguised high-value threats so they can be detained and questioned before entering the United States, or, if I'm working with the TSA on the domestic side, an outward-bound plane. Gotcha. Turning off the mic to save Renee's hearing, I yell in an exaggerated Boston accent, "Excuse me, this is my spot. I went to the ladies and now I'm back, so move." An older woman in front of my target purses her lips in disapproval. I know what she's thinking. My generation has no concept of decorum. We are so rude because of cell phones. Little does she know that her life might hang in the balance depending on what the guy next to her has up his sleeve. Literally. Unfortunately, the target is bobbing his head to a silent beat streaming from his AirPods, oblivious to my caterwauling. "What are you looking at?" I bark at the poor woman. "How about getting off my case and minding your own damn business?" I punctuate this with an extended middle finger. My flailing catches his attention. He turns, and I get a clearer shot of his features, noting, with irony, that he happens to possess a disarming...